hello. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, of course, wherever it is that you are from. My name's Sam Sloan. Not shared any little tips with you actually, just for a little while. But you know, a great feature has just come out onto Zoom, and I just thought I'd share it with you. Great feature. Really reminds me of Jamboard, to be honest. But there's a few little sort of differences, etc. But you know, I think it's fab. It's a really, really good feature. So let's jump in. So I'm in a Zoom call here. I've got a participant with me. And this new feature is Whiteboard. So I'm just going to drag into the screen here just so you can see. New feature here on your Zoom account, for instance. You've got the feature at the top, new whiteboard, whiteboards here, etc. But when you're actually in session, how is it that we actually use them, and well, who can use them? Because whilst I've been sort of testing and playing around with them, actually I found a few kind of little niggly things with it, but nonetheless, I think it's a great feature. I really do. So let's have a look at how we do it. So I'm going to share in this little bottom right hand corner now. A new icon has appeared called obviously whiteboards. When we click on there, we can set up a new whiteboard, or maybe even I could go into a whiteboard that I have previously created, because obviously I've been sort of playing around with this a little bit. But for this particular exercise, what we're going to do, we're going to create a new whiteboards. I put here all participants can edit. And what I'm then going to do is make sure I open Collaborate, allow attendees to access after the meeting as well. Now, there is a caveat to that. They obviously need to have a Zoom account. If they haven't got a Zoom account, obviously they can't access it. So these are just a couple of little things that I have noticed. So we're going to do a new whiteboard, and I'm going to open and collaborate. So all of a sudden the screen starts to look a little bit different. Now, like I've said, I have somebody already in this particular session this afternoon. So I'm going to start to use the tools, and so is this individual as well. And what I'll show you then is how you can re-access it, but I've deliberately logged in the other person without a Zoom account. So they have got access to the whiteboard. Like I've said, they're not going to be able to access it afterwards. But what I did notice was that they had an old version of Zoom on their computer. So once we updated that, they can now use the collaborative tools down the left-hand side, because before we did that, all it was simply a blank whiteboard, and they couldn't interact on it, which is no good really. So let's just have a very quick look at the tools. That's your select tool. That's obviously going to give you your mouse. You've got your little drawing tool. Feel free, Stephen, if you wish to kind of draw a few little things, maybe want to draw a hello. We've also got little shapes, etc., that we can also do. Once we kind of click on the little shapes, we can sort of draw them. There we go. So there's Stephen typing. We can even colour them in and sort of do different things with them, etc., which is great. Got line tools. So it's very similar actually to some degree to things like Jamboard, etc. Or of course the annotation tools that of course you have on the main sort of whiteboard, shall we say. There we go. Everybody always draws a face, don't they? Doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, somebody draws a face. Awesome. You've got your main little text tool, which of course you can type just like you would do normally. You've got your little sticky notes, which I think are great. Again, you can change the colours. So if you're a facilitator or a collaborator, for instance, and you want to change the colours for, Fred could have blue and Stephen could have green or whatever, so you can kind of differentiate as well, which I think is great. You can move them around. Just interestingly, Stephen, can you move my little sticky note? So if you select the very top tool on your toolbar, Stephen, and click on the little arrow at the top and click on there we go. So of course we can move each other's things around, and of course Stephen's also changed the colour there, which is great. We can also use the eraser to obviously clear things down, and of course you've got the colour there as well. Not sure what that colour does actually. Colour of what? Don't know. We've got back, so if you do make a mistake you can also click on the back, which quite frankly really helps sometimes. So there is a couple of other little things that I kind of noticed. So if I just go back to the select tool, click on the share up here. I've actually put my partner's email address in there, but I'm finding that unless that particular individual has a Zoom account, you can't share it with them, or I think it may even be an enterprise account. So at the moment it's a little bit locked down for sort of accessibility. They definitely have to have a Zoom account themselves to be able to access it after the session. But nonetheless, I think it's still a great tool to kind of use within the session, even if they can't access it. I've got to say, I think a lot of people have got their own Zoom account, even if it's the free account. I think a lot of people have still got them anyway. So of course, like I've said, it wouldn't let me share, but make sure if you do share it in this way, so if you do have people within your organisation, make sure that you're sharing it with Editor, for instance, because you want them, well, if you do want them to, of course, edit on there as well. And again, back to Editor or Viewer. Again, very, very similar setup to the Jamboard. So it's saying there that I'm obviously the owner, and we can also copy the link here in regards to invited users can view. So if I invite them, again, they've got to be in my organisation, or anyone with a Zoom account like I've just been mentioning. But you know what? I really like this. I haven't actually used it yet with some delegates, and I will be doing, because I think it's a fab tool. As you know, I'm a real advocate of Jamboard because I think it creates collaboration really seamlessly, and I'm really hoping that maybe they open it up to everybody. Now, in fairness, Stephen's logged in. He doesn't have an account, so he can physically collaborate on here anyway. So if I close this whiteboard down now, so I'll see you in a moment, Stephen. If I close that down and I just come back onto here, what that will do, I'll probably just have to update it, because there we go. So here's this whiteboard that we will have just used just a few moments ago here, and I can click into there, and that should be exactly the same whiteboard as what it is that we've just seen just a second ago. So there we go. Like I've said, the only thing is Stephen won't be able to access that afterwards. But what we can do, of course, we can lock the board if we don't want anybody else to kind of use it. But we can also export it as a PDF or a PNG file, which again, I really like sharing after sessions, for instance, with my learners, where they can continue to refer back to it as maybe a handout, for instance, or even to kind of continue that learning or that reflection, whatever it is that they're doing. I just think it's a really, really nice addition to what Zoom have been doing, which again, just kind of adds to the suite and the collaboration in regards to how it is that they have been working over the last couple of years. What we can do as well, we've got a few little different options in regards to, we can share it from here as well. We can rename it if we want, because obviously at the moment it's just untitled. We can duplicate it, which could be quite useful. And of course, this is where you would delete them as well. So, as always, what I'm going to say is give it a go. It's a great tool. See how you get on. See how you use it. See what maybe sort of little stumbling blocks maybe that you're coming across, just like I did as I was trying to share it, etc. But also share with me in the chat, obviously, underneath. Get loads of comments on these videos. So share with me how it is that you are using it, so others can also benefit. But other than that, whatever it is that you are doing today, have a fabulous day, and I will see you soon.